Alright, back to more Xena. A huge thank you to everybody who enjoyed my long video covering the first season of Xena Warrior Princess on the channel earlier this year. I'm proud of how it turned out overall. Oh, and if you haven't seen my video yet...
What are you waiting for, a written invitation?
Now that we've covered all 24 episodes from Season 1, it's time to do something completely original. Present a listing of my 10 favorite episodes from this season. This, by no means, is an easy task for me. As I mentioned in the previous video, this season right here is among my favorites in the entire mythos. Certainly in the top 3. It's great to see how elements from Hercules: The Legendary Journeys seamlessly fit right in with the leading ladies as their initial adventures play out. Everyone seems to be having fun while figuring out where to take their characters as time goes on. The amount of outfits Gabrielle goes through in this season is amusing as well. Finally, even the less spectacular episodes have excellent moments of comedy, action, drama, or a combination of each, with several pieces of the show being introduced as well as they were from 1995 to 1996. What we have here are a lot of good episodes to choose from. While going through this list, please bear in mind that my listing is not the end-all be-all. It's all in good fun from yours truly, a fan of the series. This may also serve as a reference guide for any new Xena fan looking to start with some quality episodes. Finally, I'll briefly summarize the episode I have chosen as the listing reveals itself. With that, let's begin the countdown from the ground up. These are my 10 favorite episodes from Season 1 of Xena Warrior Princess. At number 10, I have Athens City Academy of the Performing Bards. This episode debuted on January 22nd, 1996, and served as the very first clip show of the series. As the title implies, this one revolves around our Bard of Bodhidea, as she enters a contest taking place at the Athens City Academy of the Performing Bards. Where else? The winner of the contest would automatically be enrolled as the Academy's latest student. Seeing as how Gabrielle is more of the captivating storyteller here in Season 1, this was a great way to present a new story while integrating clips from notable moments in the Xena story up to that point. Plenty of comedic moments are featured as the young bard experiences the Academy firsthand. One of the funniest is Stallonis being so invested in a story he's telling in the dorm that he falls off his bunk bed. O'Connor cracking up in this sequence is the cherry on top. Another moment is the one I've mentioned in my Season 1 video, when Gabrielle is at the admission table and she knocks tons of parchment away so she can enter the contest. I love that scene. It's also real cool to see Dean O'Gorman here as Orion/Homer. Woohoo! Before he would go on to play a big role in the backstory of the son of Zeus as the young Iolaus. When Orion finally has enough of his dad's crap and decides to tell the stories his own way, we are ready for it, and O'Gorman performs it well. I also love when the legend known as Gastatius blasts the other judges for disqualifying Gabrielle. What in Tartarus were they thinking? When all is settled, Gabrielle and Orion both earn their admissions into the Academy, but the young bard decides to tag alongside the warrior princess once more as the episode concludes. Overall, a fun showing from everyone involved, as it really seemed like the filming process was a blast for each of them. This one is a real treat for die-hard Gabrielle fans. At number 9, I have the phenomenal Dreamworker. This originally debuted on September 18th, 1995. Don't ever make the big mistake of assuming Gabrielle will make a mistake, because she doesn't make mistakes. This opening scene never gets old. Once the young bard defeats the rudely assuming tree trunk, she experiences her first real battle of life and death. The evil influence of Morpheus has convinced the priest known as Manus to find a candidate worthy of participating in a ritual for blood innocence. With Gabrielle showing a growing interest in the way of the warrior in this episode, she is deemed the perfect choice for Manus, and he kidnaps the young bard while Xena fends off an invasion. From here, 3 challenges are reluctantly performed by Gabrielle while Xena enters a dreamscape to save her. The first 2 challenges are extremely entertaining to watch, as Gabrielle is able to outwit her opponents in hilarious fashion. Xena squaring off face to face with her evil side as she continues to locate her friend is such a cool moment. I honestly would have loved more interactions between the good and evil Xenas as the series progressed, but that probably would have cost a fistful of dinars. Anyway, Xena prevents Gabrielle from certain doom during the final challenge, and it is capped off by a killer right hand to the face of Manus by the Bard of Bodhidea. Xena's first crack at sharing wisdom in the end proves to be a moment we'd never forget, solidifying Dreamworker as a great mix of everything that makes the show so fun to watch. Plenty to enjoy for fans of both leading ladies. At number 8, I'm going with Mortal Beloved. After the events of The Path Not Taken, this episode debuted on February 12, 1996. Xena finds herself reunited with the spirit of her former lover known as Marcus in the woods. He informs her of the state of disarray in the underworld as a result of the evil Atominius gaining possession of Hades' helmet of invisibility. With many innocents suffering in Tartarus, Xena decides to enter the underworld to restore order. She is greeted by the boatman Charon, played by Michael Hurst. That's right, Iolaus! Each of Charon's scenes are gold, continuing the gag that began in the film Hercules in the Underworld, the fourth of the 5 television films in 1994. Once the lovers are really reunited, the adventure begins as they do all they can to retrieve the helmet. Highlights include Xena convincing the not-so-innocents to turn on Atominius, Gabrielle giving the evil bastard a nosebleed when he transfers over to the land of the living, Xena outsmarting the Invisible Man with a blanket, and 2 duels against giant harpies. It doesn't get any more 90s than Xena kicking this harpy, am I right? Once the helmet is returned to Hades, Xena is able to earn Marcus a second judging, and he is awarded with his place in the Elysian Fields. All this while Gabrielle patiently waited for her friend. How adorable is that? Great stuff here involving 2 crossover characters from Hercules, and the final time we would witness the bond between Xena and Marcus. At number 7, it's The Prodigal. Gabrielle fans rejoice. We have another doozy from March 4th, 1996. A routine battle against some goons with heavy artillery leaves our Bard of Potidaea in despair as she laments her momentary hesitation during the fight. Fearing that she has downgraded into a liability for Xena, Gabrielle decides to leave the warrior princess behind and return home. As it turns out, this was a way to keep Lucy Lawless off the show to make an appearance at a convention in the States at the time. What came out of it was a tremendously entertaining performance by O'Connor. The young bard's attempts to hitch a ride back home are fantastic, resulting in a reunion with the same lad who gave her a ride in Sins of the Past. Before reaching Potidaea, Gabrielle is informed of a dangerous man named Damon posing a threat to her hometown. She arrives back home to find each of the citizens, including her sister Lilla, hiding in a pub as they await the arrival of their problem solver, Meleager the Drunken Mighty. From here, we witness how much Gabrielle has grown with Xena's guidance. She is able to convince Meleager to kick the drinking habit, gradually patches things up with Lilla after some initial animosity for leaving in the first place, saving Meleager from Damon, and leading her fellow Potidaeans to defend their town during the eventual invasion of Damon and his forces. Meleager is able to defeat Damon to the town's roaring approval. Lilla, having seen how her sister has carried herself amid the threat from Damon, gives Gabrielle her blessing to go on with the warrior princess. Willa O'Neill is awesome. The 2 heroines reunite after another duel against the same goons from the start of the episode. I was thrilled to see Gabrielle get another episode centered around her after Athens City Academy, and it did not disappoint. I ranked this one higher than Athens City Academy, mainly because we got to see more action on top of the entertaining comedy. At number 6, I choose The Greater Good. Hitting the airwaves on May 6, 1996, this was one of 2 episodes from Season 1 featuring the always amusing Salmonius from Hercules, portrayed by Robert Trevor. In this one, Salmonius goes by the name Lord Zeltzer, owner of a water factory that's being threatened by warlord Talmudeus. It is up to Xena and Gabrielle to dispose of the warlord. Xena clears out some goons in the town with ease until an unknown individual from afar shoots the warrior princess with a poison dart. Initially unaffected, Xena begins succumbing to the poison during a scuffle against Talmudeus. Understanding that the effects from the dart will gradually worsen and possibly end her life, Xena agrees to have Gabrielle pose as the warrior princess to continue the battle against Talmudeus. Highlights here include the battle against the warlord's forces after Xena casually sneaks up on him, Trevor's facial expressions throughout the episode, Gabrielle being adorably badass in the Xena outfit, the excellent acting from O'Connor and Trevor after the warrior princess collapses in the hut, and the final melee when Xena awakens. This proves to be a wonderful mesh of lightheartedness and seriousness, providing quite the roller coaster ride for viewers. It also serves as a teaser for the eventual debut of Callisto, as Xena ponders who shot her shortly before the credits roll. Nicely done. At number 5, it's The Reckoning from October 16th, 1995. A strange hooded fellow is wreaking havoc in the woods, killing 3 individuals in the process. Xena fights the assassin to a stalemate, and once the villagers arrive to the scene of the crime, she is perceived as the one responsible, thanks to the blood on her hands. Xena is eventually arrested in exchange for Gabrielle's freedom, and the plot thickens. The hooded one is revealed as the god of war, Ares. In his debut on Xena Warrior Princess, the late great Kevin Smith is nothing short of badass and cunning. As Ares explains, he orchestrated the attack to get Xena to embrace her dark side once again and join him as his queen. Offering her everything she could ever want, Xena is left with quite a choice to make. Gabrielle defends her friend during the trial, but a witness pointing to the warrior princess places a huge mark against her case. Xena eventually agrees to Ares' offer if, and only if, she is found guilty. As she endures a savage beating in her cell, Xena succumbs to her dark side to clear out the guards, until she slaps the young bard. After regaining her senses and earning Gabrielle's forgiveness, a guilty verdict is reached the next morning. Before she is executed, Xena calls out for Ares to revive the victims of his attack, and he obliges. The case against Xena is thrown out when one victim recounts her brave efforts to save them. This is definitely more of a serious episode that explores the constant internal battle Xena fights. There's a real sense of doubt as to whether or not Xena will revert to her old ways. Gabrielle has a good moment as Xena's defense attorney. Finally, having appeared previously in Hercules before his debut on Xena, Smith shines as the god of war and would remain in the show as an important player until the final season. This dude rules. It's a darn shame he's no longer here. At number 4, I have Callisto. The episode that changed the world forever on May 13th, 1996, as we were introduced to Xena's quintessential adversary, Callisto. Full credit and kudos to the architect himself, R.J. Stewart. In another episode that somehow mixes comedy with an extremely dark story real well, we are presented with 45 minutes of thrilling action. Hudson Light delivers a captivating performance as Callisto. Joxer the Mighty, played by T-Money, the artist formerly known as Ted Raimi, also debuts in the series as Xena and Gabrielle walk past victims from one of the towns Callisto has invaded. Another victim, Melis, is under the impression that it was Xena who instigated the attack on his hometown. Of course, this was due to Callisto herself claiming to be the warrior princess. After the first battle against Callisto, in which the blonde warrior draws first blood, Xena reveals how deep this really goes. During her dark past, the warrior princess invaded Callisto's hometown of Sira, and several lives were lost, including Callisto's parents and other women and children. Clearly in anguish over her actions, Xena is begged by Gabrielle to stay true to her good side in a wonderful scene between Lawless and O'Connor. As the efforts to restrain Callisto rage on, Joxer tries to restrain the young bard a few times to prove his worth as a warrior, but to no avail. These encounters are hilarious. The epic tale concludes with a homage to Once Upon a Time in China 2, as Xena and Callisto duke it out on ladders, while Gabrielle holds onto a rope above the melee. There is a lot more goodness that goes on here, but it's clear by now that this episode remains a classic in the series, a wonderful start to the Callisto saga in Xena Warrior Princess. To say it's a must-watch is an understatement. At number 3, are you ready for a crossover? It's Prometheus, originally airing on November 6th, 1995. This episode pays tribute to both Hercules and Xena so brilliantly. Hercules was going strong in its second season at the time, also in the midst of premiering 24 episodes. The god Prometheus has been chained down against his will, rendering humans unable to heal wounds or create fire. The Oracle Io informs Xena that the god can only be freed with the Sword of Hephaestus. While making her way to Vulcan Mountain with Gabrielle, we have the appearance of recurring character on Hercules, Falafel. Paul Norell is so entertaining as the salesman. With Hera surely behind Prometheus' enchainment, Hercules appears shortly after Xena retrieves the sword. When Xena thwarts off the son of Zeus, Aeolus is seen introducing himself to Gabrielle for the first time. As he and the young bard hit it off, Xena immediately snatches Gabrielle away before Hercules can catch up. The reason why both the warrior princess and son of Zeus each want to personally free Prometheus here is so the other doesn't have to die upon slicing the god free from captivity. Despite the looming thought, the four protagonists work together to restore order. The brawl in the hut is awesome, as Xena, Herc, and Aeolus kick ass from pillar to post. Gabrielle getting a punch in here or there would have been nice, but it is what it is. They eventually reach the mountain and are forced to separate when it is revealed to Herc and Xena that Aeolus suffered a wound during the fight. In actuality, Hurst had broken his arm, and I'm sure this was a quick pivot by creative to ensure his speedy recovery. This injury would be acknowledged later on in the Hercules episode, cast a giant shadow as Hurst recuperated his arm. The moment of truth proves to be another great battle against Eggman and a giant eagle. Using the Sword of Hephaestus, Xena neutralizes the big bird and hurls the weapon back down to Hercules, who uses a rock to have it ricochet onto the chains holding down Prometheus. The god's freedom ensures Aeolus' survival, and a celebration headlined by kisses. There is so much to like for fans of both shows as each of the stars deliver the goods. A real treat from beginning to end, and kudos to Hurst for carrying on with that injury. At number 2, I have Warrior. Princess. Holy crap, is this one a blast. A more comedic effort from February 5th, 1996, as Xena is requested to assist King Laius in his effort to carry out a peaceful wedding for his daughter, Princess Diana. The warrior princess is greeted warmly by everyone at the castle upon her arrival, and it isn't long before we find out why. She and the princess are physically identical. How can you go wrong with two Xenas? It's simply not possible. The two ladies switch roles, with Xena posing as the princess to detain the threat at the castle, and Diana posing as the warrior princess to stay away from potential assassins. The wildly entertaining episode features hilarious moments such as Xena fending off goons with Diana's bodyguard Philemon without him noticing, Diana running away from a confrontation with a bozo looking to have his way with Gabrielle, Xena setting unsuspecting lads on fire, and Diana brushing Argo's tail slightly under 900 times. This all leads to Xena destroying the final goons and restraining the real perpetrator at the wedding as she secretly continues posing as Diana. Philemon and the princess finally confessing their love together, live happily ever after. It's as memorable as it appears. Fantastic episode all the way through. This will also serve as the first part in a series of episodes involving more than one Xena. Trust me, we will get there. It all comes down to this, my favorite episode of Season 1. At number 1, I have The Royal Couple of Thieves, Bruce freaking Campbell.
Greetings.
Need I say more? Of course not, but I'm going to anyway. February 19th, 1996 would mark the debut of another crossover character from Hercules, the King of Thieves himself, Autolycus. The king is tricked into stealing a fake jewel by Xena and Gabrielle to recruit him on a new adventure to recover a sacred treasure chest before it is auctioned off. The plan is to have Xena and Autolycus board the ship headed to the auction under disguise, with the king posing as the sinister Lord Centares and Xena posing as his concubine Cherish. The episode shines from here with incredible moments such as the supposed Centares facing off against Prognesi on the boat, Xena and Autolycus setting bed arrangements via coin flip, the seductive dance of the three veils, the two being framed as the culprits behind the murder of the auctioneer Malthus, leading to them faking a lovemaking session to mislead guards, the entire hysterical sequence involving Autolycus returning the chest to its original place, and Xena facing off against the real Cinderes in a cave. This final battle is so rich in Hong Kong martial art flick goodness, I can't get enough of it. Can you handle the truth? Well, Malthus's former Lieutenant Arkell couldn't, and that's why he burned to death. In the end, the treasure chest is recovered, and Autolycus' efforts are appreciated by Xena as she begins to detect a good heart inside the King of Thieves. Gabrielle gets the last laugh by swiping a ring from Autolycus to the delight of yours truly. Simply put, this episode has a little of everything that makes the show great. Plenty of comedy, intriguing suspense, killer fight scenes, and a brief moment of uncertainty in the final battle as Centauri showcases a deadly skill in pressure pointing. For this being Bruce Campbell's first episode on Xena as Autolycus, it really seemed as if he had done numerous episodes with the leading ladies before. All three play off of each other greatly, resulting in a memorable offering from the show. And that will do it for my 10 favorite episodes from the original season of Xena Warrior Princess. Inevitably, I shall provide my lists for the rest of the seasons as they are covered here on the channel. I'm excited to continue looking back at many aspects of the Xenaverse with all of you real soon. This is where I leave all of you to share your own 10 favorite episode lists in the comments below. Have fun with it. Thank you all for watching, and battle on, viewers.